Hey everybody, welcome to the Ladybug Girl Show. Today we're going to make candles for Valentine's Day. I'm super excited, they're going to be super cute, and let's get started! The items you will need are wax, a hammer, and I'm using a screwdriver but like a little wedge for prying the wax apart, a kettle, some candle wicking, some cinnamon essential oil, some orchid and teal colorant. In addition, it is good to put down aluminum foil over your workspace. You will need a candle mold. I'm using 2 glass molds. I also have these cute heart molds that have wax all over them. You will also need some little heart molds. Make sure they are heat resistant since we are pouring hot wax into the molds. You could also use a heart mold that looks like this in a metal container. For the glass molds, you will need a wick that has a base attached to the bottom of it, and that is so we can install it for the glass molds. You will also need some mold sealer. That way the wax does not pour out of your mold. Another good item to use is a wooden stick. I'm just using a chopstick. Okay, then I prepared my hearts already. Basically what I did was I just did the orchid colorant, and then I poured the large molds and these cute little small ones. I think they turned out really cute. For these cute little hearts, I did not use any essential oil. I'm just using the essential oil in the wax that we will be pouring in around the cute little hearts. And then I also have some blue ones all ready to go. Okay, then you want to put your wax on the floor and use your hammer to break it up. I just put the screwdriver in and hammered it down, and then it creates cracks, and then you can put the chunks in your kettle. Okay, I got my wax on my kettle, and I'm going to turn my wax on medium. Do not add the essential oil or the colorant until the wax has completely melted. Okay, at this point you can figure out how you want your mold to look. I'm gonna do mine with the best side facing down, so the best side of the heart facing down. Some of the back sides have little bubbles, so I'm going to make sure that those are hiding. I created a circle within my mold, and then I have these cute little blue hearts, and I'm going to face those upside down and have them touch the side of the mold, and then you'll have little hearts facing outward. Looks like we can fit 3 inside. And then when we pour the wax, we're just going to have to be super careful to make sure that everything stays in place. Maybe use a wooden stick to kind of push things around. I also have these cute little glass molds that I bought for like $1 at the thrift store. I have 2 of them. They're identical. What I'm going to do is put 2 little hearts right here, and then put the wick coming out just in the center of the mold. I'll pour in the wax right here. So this will be elevated outside the wax, and then as it hardens, I'm going to place little hearts coming out of the wax or just sitting on top. Next, you will want to prepare the wick in your candle mold. I do this by cutting a couple of extra inches from the height of your mold, and then I use the excess to wrap around the stick. The top of your candle mold is actually the bottom of your candle. So that's a concept that is something to get used to when you're making candles. And what you want to do is wrap the bottom of the wick around the stick, and then the top we will use the mold sealant to keep it in place. Okay, I just cut my wick, and you want to dip it in the wax before you install it into your candle, and that just kind of coats it and makes it burn better when you actually burn it. And then these ones that I bought at the store, they are pre-coated, but I'm actually going to dip them again also. Okay, once the wax has melted, you want to dip your wicks in there I'm just going to let them drop down, and then I will grab a paper plate and I will take them out very carefully with some tongs so I don't get hurt. Here's my paper plate. Emily decorated it for me. Okay, now we're going to take the wicks out and place them on the paper plate. I just let them cool off and then I will put them in the molds. Okay, now that the wax has melted, you can add your colorant. I am using Till, and it says 1 chip per pound of wax. And I'm pretty sure I have about 2 pounds in there, so I will add 2 chips. And the chips look real dark, but it's not really representative of the color it will be later. Okay, at this point I have turned off the stove top, put in my 2 things of colorant. You can see that they start dispersing the color right away. And if you have a wooden stick, you can mix it up. Okay, now the colorant is mixed up pretty good. You can add your scent. I'm using cinnamon essential oil, and I'm just gonna drop probably about 10 of them. One thing to note with cinnamon is a little bit goes a long way, so you really don't need a whole lot. Okay, for our glass mold, what I'm going to do is just use a tiny bit of sealant and place it on the bottom right here, and then that will stick to the glass. Now that all my wicks have been installed, it is time to pour your wax. I'm trying to pour it in the middle. I think I'll leave it at that distance to make sure I have everything in place. I'm going to go ahead and pour this one. I did it so the purple hearts are inlaid in the mold. And then once the wax hardens, I will inlay a few more. Okay, so what happens is the wax that I had inside the mold, it melts a little bit, so it's not right up against the side of the candle. So what I'm doing is using a little stick and pushing it up close, and then that way you'll be able to see it on the outside. And same thing with this one over here. I'm just going to push it over, and then that way you'll be able to see it when it hardens. Okay, at this time, if you wanted to add a few more hearts, you could go ahead and add them along the edge. Just be real careful because the wax is real hot. Okay, with the second glass heart, we're going to switch it up and just have a single heart with the little hearts on top. I'm actually pouring this so I can still see the top, and then I'm going to be real careful and then try to pour a little bit in the center of that heart. I think what I'll do is add a second layer. Okay, I just decided I'm going to add a little bit more wax. And then I can keep adding or more wax on top. Okay, I think this one's set up pretty good. Going back to this one, I think I'll just throw in some more of my large ones along the edge. And then I can pour in the remainder of my wax. Place this one in. And I got one more blue one. And then if you see you have a little extra room, you can put a heart on this side. I'm actually going to do one last one on that side. Okay, I'm going to pour in the remainder of my wax. I'm leaving about 1 inch from the top so I can put in the rest of my hearts. You can just press the hearts up against the side of your mold. Okay, this one I am going to put one last heart in. Just going to kind of set it on top. I think it kind of adds a little bit to it. Then I'll put a couple little purple hearts around it. Maybe one right there. Okay, one last heart right here. If you're not satisfied with the way one of your hearts turned out, you can always put one on top. So like, I like the way those ones look, but then this one got too much covered on it, so I'm just going to put this one on top. And press it down just a little bit. Now I'm decorating this one. The wax is getting quite solid, so I have to be very careful how I do it. This one I'm just kind of doing 3 there. I'm going to put in a couple more, but it's going to run down this side. Okay, so I'm adding a few more on this one. The more it dries, the more you can tell how you want it. And then in the corner up here, I'm going to do one more. I think that one's a masterpiece. This one's drying pretty good. I'm going to let it dry overnight. I know there's a little piece sticking out, and I'm just going to shave that off tomorrow. It's going to be on the bottom of the candles, so it doesn't even matter. Okay, this one looks like it needs just a little bit more. So I'm going to set that one there. And then my last heart is going to go right here. Oh, I think it's so precious. Okay, I just did some final touches. I added a little bit of wax inside of the hearts on the top. I thought it would look pretty cute. I did the same thing over here. And then this one's starting to set up. We're actually going to let it sit all night long. You do not want to move it because it would make the candle kind of wrinkle on the bottom. So just leave it in the same location you poured it. Let it sit, you know, for a good 12 hours. Then you can take it out of the mold. I will come back and do an update with how it turns out. I'm super excited. Can't wait. Now the wax is melted on the stove, so we're going to pour it in. You just need to be careful to not go all the way up to the edge, because you don't want the wax to pour over the side of your candle. I think that looks like a good amount. It will level out the bottom of my candle. What I'll do is I'll leave it, you know, for an hour or two, and then I might pour a little bit more on top, and then I still need to cut this piece that's raised right here. Okay, it's time to take our candle out of the mold. I'm super excited. I'm just going to use a little razor blade to cut off that little piece that was sticking out. Just so the bottom of my candle will be flat. Now it's a nice smooth surface. And then before I take my candle out, I'm just going to cut the wick. And you don't need any excess wick on the bottom of your candle. Okay, so we're going to take and find out how our candle turned out. Ooh. Okay, so the wick on top we will go ahead and cut. I like to leave a little over 1 inch. And you can see the hearts on the top, and then there's hearts on the side. I think it turned out really cool. And when you burn it, you'll see those other hearts that are inside the mold as well. Super awesome. Okay, and then we have these candles in the glass container. Last thing to do is cut my wick. And it turned out pretty cute. I'm super excited. And here's my other candle. I'm going to cut the wick on that one too. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm super happy. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this inspires you to make your own candles at home. It's super fun. You can use whatever colors and scents you like the most and make it your own. Okay, thank you for watching this episode of Ladybug Girl Show. Bye!